Hey everybody, hope you're having a great day today. My name is Charlie, and by the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to make progress when you get stuck in the gym. My wife and daughter are asleep right now, so I'm going to try to be a little bit quiet while I do this. I'm just in the back room of our house, and I hope that this is helpful for you. If you have ever dealt with a lagging body part, meaning maybe your chest just isn't growing at the rate that everything else is, or maybe if you have stalled lifts, so maybe you've been doing one exercise for a while and you just can't get it past a certain number, or if you have small calves, then this is for you. Um, Let me show you. This is from one of my guys named Anthony, and you can see at the end of January he was doing. I think this is his bench. No, this is his squat. I'm sorry. So he did a 117-pound squat, and this is his first barbell squat ever. And you can see that he made some progress, and he kind of got stuck here. And during that time, he wasn't making much progress. And the reason is what we're going to talk about in just a minute. But by the end of it, we made a couple changes and he was back to 183. So he added like 60 something pounds, 64 pounds, I think, to his squat from January till April 9th. And it is currently April 11th, so 2 days ago. And so I make these videos, by the way, for Christian men so that you can bless and serve your families and churches to your best ability. So if you are a man in ministry, if you are a Christian guy, whether you are married or want to be someday, whether you are serving or want to be someday in your church, really your job is to lead. And it's really hard to lead whenever you're not in shape. It's really hard to lead when you have anxiety about who you are and when you're not confident. And so my goal is to help make you confident so that you can serve in the best way possible and really just honor God with your life. Okay, so let's dive in. Step one is exercise selection. So if you have a lagging body part, then the actual workout that you do matters. And let me explain an easy way to think of it. If you were to bring up your arms, okay, maybe your biceps just aren't growing for some reason, would you do squats? No, that's not going to help you. And you know that. Like, it's a dumb question. Okay, so then the next question is if you wouldn't do squats, then why would you do something for your arms that won't grow them? And so a lot of guys make the mistake of picking a workout that they see on TikTok instead of picking a workout that actually works. And here's the way to know. Um, every muscle grows at a different length, a certain way. Like for instance, the biceps that we're talking about. It has what's called the most leverage, meaning it's able to move the most weight whenever it's at a long position. So if my arm is fully outstretched, this is when my bicep has the most leverage. It's going to do the most lifting. But if I were to rotate my hand a little bit and do a hammer curl, like, have the barbell like this instead of like this, then now the brachialis, this little muscle in here, and then a muscle up on my forearm actually takes over. And so those muscles have more leverage than the biceps do. And so if you're trying to target a muscle, then target the muscle. And it's pretty easy to figure out how that works. You can look into the science, but basically, wherever a muscle has the most leverage is where it's going to do the most lifting. And so you can really just Google this. So, like, if you're trying to bring up your calves, the big muscle of your calves is called the gastroc, and it has the most leverage whenever your heel is really extended, when it's a really lengthened position, and that means like your heel is really pressed down a lot. And then once you raise it up to where now your heel is parallel to the floor, that's when that big meaty section of your calf loses leverage and a smaller muscle called the soleus takes over. And so that's when, if you're trying to grow your calves, small calf gang, this is for you. If you're trying to grow your calves, then you don't want to do a muscle, or excuse me, you don't want to do a workout that's not going to hit your target muscle. So the exercise selection matters. You need to pick workouts that actually hit the target muscle. Okay, so All right, I think that one's fairly obvious. Do a quick Google search. Where does the insert muscle here have the most leverage? Okay, number two is exercise placement in the workout. Okay, so what goes first is going to get the most growth. What goes at the end, let's suppose these are all exercises, what's here at the very end is going to get the least. And the higher you are on this, the first workouts that you do, the first exercises in a workout that you do are going to cause the most growth. And that's because of a couple of reasons. Different types of fatigue happen. And so it's kind of like, if you were to work outside all day, you might have a lot of energy at the beginning of the day, but you're going to have less at the end of the day. Same thing with your workout. You're going to have more energy and less fatigue, less tiredness, so to speak, at the beginning of your workout than you are down here. And so this is where you want your most important exercises to go. So your little tiny calves need to go here, not here. This is bad. Okay. Don't do it down at the very end of your workout. Do it towards the beginning. Now, suppose maybe it's a full body workout and you are going to be using your arms later. Okay. Maybe it's a bicep problem. Maybe you just want to have big old stinking huge guns. Then what you can do is you can put uh, your major moves right here. And maybe don't put your arms at the very beginning if you feel like you're going to still want to keep your rows and your pull downs and things like that. Maybe don't put your biceps very beginning, maybe put them second or third, but don't put them at the very beginning and this is up to you, if you feel like you want your bigger compound lifts like those pulls or those lat things or anything like that, if you want those to be more important to you. It's really just a balance. So exercise placement just means your priorities. Okay. So prioritize, that means to make prior or to make first, whatever you want to be first. Whatever you want to grow the most, let it grow the most by putting it towards the beginning of your workout, not the end. Okay. Let's go to, I don't even know how to do this. Okay. Let's go to our next slide. Okay. Number three is the frequency. And frequency is how many days per week. And so if we were to figure out frequency, it's going to be the more frequent you work a muscle, the less time it spends getting smaller. Okay. Muscle is what's called binary, and it's kind of like a light switch. It's either on or it's off. It's one or two. So a muscle is either growing or it's shrinking. There's no in between. There's no maintaining muscle. It just means that you're growing it until the point that it stays the same because you atrophy enough. So that's what that means. And so frequency matters because suppose I did a workout, a long time ago. If I did it a month ago, it may have been a very, very intense workout, but it was a month ago. It's not, I'm not still growing from that. I grew for about 2 days, typically is how long your growth stimulus lasts. But that's it. That's really it. And so you might drive a really big growth stimulus, but then if you take several days to shrink, you undo all the progress you just made. So what you want to do is have small little bumps of progress. So you want to hit it day one, and then you don't want to hit it day two, but you do want to hit it day three. You don't want to hit it day four, but you do want to hit it day five. So if you hit this 3 times in a week, and then you have the weekend, and that's just all a wash, then now you've gotten 3 big stimuli during the week. That's 3 big times that you're growing that muscle. Even if you only do one set 3 times a week, you are going to grow more than if you did 3 sets 1 time a week. Does that make sense? And that's backed up. That's not just my opinion. That's a study that they've done. You can go look it up. So try to be more frequent if you want to bring up lagging body parts. Okay. Let me get rid of these. All right. So let's go to our next thing. Volume. Volume is how many sets there are in the workout itself. Okay, so we've started with exercise selection, and then we're going to deal with where we put that exercise in the workout, and that's going to be probably the second most important thing. The third most important thing is how many days per week we do that actual exercise that's earlier in the workout. But now we're going to also deal with how many sets of that exercise I should do each workout that I do because it's earlier in the workout. I hope that you're following along with all these steps. So if I'm doing this, I want my volume to be enough that I drive a good stimulus, but not enough that I'm still sore the next time I hit it. So that's really a good practical goal. We could get deeper on this subject, but really that's not the goal of this video. Pay me for training. I'm just kidding. So if you want your volume to work, then here's how you can do this. If suppose we do a 3-day split, like we were talking about last time. So I hit it day one and I am sore for 3 or 4 days. And so day one, after the workout goes by, so technically day two so far, and I'm supposed to hit it the next day, but I'm still sore, then this is not going to work. What's happened is I've created probably some muscle damage and some nerve damage. And that means that I'm not going to be able to get as an effective of a workout. I may still get some growth, but not nearly as much as if the curve had been more like, let me get rid of this, more like this. So if I'm sore and then right before that second workout, now I'm not sore anymore. This is the golden amount. So suppose I did 2 sets this day. That's going to be the number that I'm going to keep using. 2 sets. And then day two, I'm going to do 2 sets. And then I'm not going to work out. Day three, that's supposed to be an X. It's a star now. Day four, though, I'm going to do, you guessed it, 2 sets. And then I'm going to take the weekend off. And then next Monday, I'm going to do 2 sets. And I'm just going to keep this up because here's the thing. If I'm driving growth for these 2 days and then I'm recovering, then really, look, I'm spending only one day not growing. Deal. I'm spending the rest of this entire week growing the part of my body that is not working. I'm getting stronger. And the more muscle you add, the stronger you will get. Okay. And by the way, maybe I should have added a step 5 here that explains this really clearly. But here's how you know if you're actually growing or not. It's if your lifts are going up. Because if I add more muscle, then I'm going to be stronger. And if I add more muscle and I get stronger, then over time, it may not be every workout, it may not be every set, but I'm going to grow week over week should be a good thing. And that's really for a more advanced lifter. So if you're just a beginner, if you're just a beginner, then you should be able to grow almost every workout, if not every 2 or 3. And that means that your lifts are going to go up. So suppose maybe you're more intermediate or advanced, then I would be looking for maybe every week you increase another rep or you increase weight depending on how high you are. And this is gonna show you how much volume you need. If you're doing too much volume, then you're gonna either be more sore or you're actually gonna be driving more muscle damage or more fatigue. And that means that you're not gonna progress in your numbers. And so if you're going 2, 3, 4 weeks without adding a rep or without adding weight, that's because you're not getting your volume right. You're doing too much probably. Now, if you're only doing 1 set and you're not growing and you're doing it 1 time a week and you're not growing, then refer back to step 1, 2, 3, and now 4. But if you're doing 2 sets, 3 sets per workout, and maybe you're not able to progress every 2 weeks, then cut it down to 1 and see how that works for you. Cut it down to 2 or 3 sets, depending on how many you're doing. Okay, so volume is going to be a very important step here. Make sure that you're paying attention to your volume and that you're kind of reading your numbers. And that's why it's so important to track and to log. That way you know when you're growing and when you're not, because you can compare workout to workout. Okay. And really, there's 2 big paths here. The first big path on the left is you're going to take this and you're going to ignore it, and you don't want to be like this guy. Okay. The Bible says that if you know to do good and you don't do it, then to you it is sin. And I'm not sure that not working out the way that I told you is sinful. I'm just saying if you know that you can improve, then why wouldn't you want to? There's 2 ways to improve. There's not 2 ways to improve. There's 2 paths, is what I'm saying. The other way is you can totally do this alone, and this path actually has a little offshoot, and this offshoot is you do it like 100% alone. And that means that you're going to have to learn all the same things. You follow all the 4 steps that I gave you. You combine this with all of the other knowledge that you're going to have to learn, and you end up like me, and it takes you a decade to learn all of this stuff on your own. definitely works. And I will give you a pass on that. It's supposed to be a check right there because this is what I did. This is my path. I took the offshoot path. Or there's this other one right here, and this is the even bigger check mark. I'm going to give you two check marks for this one because what this one does is it continues on with guidance. And so if you don't want to take 10 years, if you want to get in shape, if you want to break through that plateau on your bench press, or if you want your calves to actually look different in 2030, then you're going to take this path. And the reason is because you don't have to learn all the steps. I've done it for you. And this path is really just where you work with me. And I help you go from where you are to where you want to be in as little amount of time and without as much friction as possible. And so if you feel like you're qualified for that, if you feel like you are a man of faith and you do want to serve your church and your family to the best of your ability, and you want to do that sooner than later, then go ahead and just right below this video, there's a link for a booking, and go ahead and schedule a call with us. I'd be happy to walk you through everything that you need. We'll walk through the program, through what it would look, what it would look like to train and for me to coach you. And hopefully I will see you on the other side. Okay. And if not, if you're one of these guys, if you're one of the action takers, then more power to you. I hope that you succeed soon. And if you're one of these guys, then actually just go over here and get your life right. Just kidding. I love you guys. Hope it goes well. And I hope you guys are super successful and break through all your plateaus and get massive, massive calves.